All right. So to start off, basically, I think the best question that was asked was, what's the main goal for Reddcoin in being represented at DEF CON? Why are we going? Why are we doing this? And the primary goal for Reddcoin, even being involved there at all, is really twofold, threefold maybe. One, Blockchain Village itself is a sub-event within DEF CON, which is aimed at exposing blockchain technology and specifically security issues and vulnerabilities, and that ability to sort of protect the software and investigate it. That security aspect of it is a focus of Blockchain Village, and obviously of the larger DEF CON event itself, which spans well beyond crypto and blockchain. But we were invited to participate in Blockchain Village by the organizers purely from the aspect of education. There's a huge untapped audience out there of technical experts, hackers, hacker wannabes, penetration testers, people who really are focused on that side of the technology world, but don't have a lot of exposure to cryptocurrencies and blockchains and the differences that cybersecurity sort of plays in those different roles. A big part of why we agreed to do this was to expose not just Reddcoin, but cryptocurrencies like Reddcoin in general to this audience. The more exposure that we get as a space, as an industry, not just as Reddcoin, it does benefit us all. And it brings new people into the space and creative folks who can figure out, hopefully, not just how to break into things, but how to fix them and improve them. That's absolutely kind of key. We were invited to be the first cryptocurrency altcoin project on that Blockchain Village educational track. And of course, we're very excited at being recognized for that. And it really is meant to bring some of that tech out into view and let people see, apart from the speculative aspect, what really is going on in the cryptocurrency world. And then the other piece of that, and it does factor in, very nicely with that same educational aspect, is, in a sense, recruitment. It's important to our project, again, as well as the larger kind of crypto space, that people feel welcome to join and that they're able to contribute. And, in this instance, we're talking about cybersecurity experts. There's a huge need for that across the board in our space. That's, again, a big thrust of why we're taking the time and the effort to do this as a bit of a recruitment tool and outreach to say, whether it's Reddcoin, whether it's Ethereum or Bitcoin, whatever it might be, that those folks are a welcome addition to the space that's been built here and that's growing and that really has some opportunity for everybody. A lot of people don't see that. They don't realize that. Even our group in the crypto space, people are hesitant to step up and say, hey, I want to help. That's a message that we've put out there routinely. Step up and help. It's a volunteer or a real job, paid, salaried, benefits. You can't hurt yourself by asking, and that really is how things grow in this space. We're hoping that the attention that's drawn from DEF CON and the coverage of what we're doing and why we're doing it really has that inspiration for people that'll help them join this space and feel comfortable and confident in doing that. So that's a big part of it too. And then finally, of course, our technology, which we're happy to show off. We've worked very hard building towards a full-fledged Redd mobile application, which anybody on the team will tell you, myself included, is not yet ready for release. And we'll speak to that a little bit later. But the concepts of Redd-ID and registering a name and linking it to social media IDs, all of that really are problems that we initially solved with the first version of Redd-ID back in 2018. So what we've done in reinventing that is we've had to go through the work to sort of revamp it and rebuild it and take the content and the side chain and those components of what makes Redd-ID. In the process of sort of reevaluating and reinventing it into this mobile format, what we discovered is it would make a nice little self-contained target for this DEF CON visit, and that's really why we're bringing it there. It's not meant to imply, and again, being very clear and transparent, it's not meant to imply that we are around the corner from releasing that as a full product. We're not. There are numerous challenges to solve around that. And again, there's a lot of work to be done to really make it do what it needs to do in a decentralized way. What we've done in bringing this product to DEF CON is sort of that middle point between where we started and where we are now. We know that it works. We know that it functions. We know that it can be improved by additional intention, putting more eyes on that is going to be beneficial. Maybe there are security issues that we don't know about, which, could impact how that operates when we do go to release it. So there is definitely an anticipation of some learning to be done there. And if we do find anything, unexpected, that's something that we have the time and the ability to put into place as the product's being built. But the nature of this event is called the Capture the Flag Hackathon. And that hackathon is built intentionally to practice skills and teach people. Again, it's an educational event. It's a bit of a contest, but it's meant for folks to be able to practice on what's essentially a live target without getting in trouble for doing that. That's always a concern in the hacking community. The end result being not only will some of the people that are more skilled in what they're doing and are able to find more of the flags get some prizes in Reddcoin. We're trying to arrange some NFTs for those folks as well. Not on Reddcoin's chain, of course, because we don't support NFTs, but we've discovered that it's easy enough to create them and kind of neat to win one for doing something worthwhile. That's stuff that we're also looking at as a learning experience too. So it's not really wasted effort either. And the other piece of this whole event really is collaboration between other people in the space, helping set up some of the aspects of this event. We've been working with folks from other teams and folks organizing the Defcon event who, have also said that we will be invited to and likely attending other of the similar events that are scheduled around the year. So if you visit blockchainvillage.net, if you visit defcon.org, the two websites, some of it's interesting, some of it's a little technical for some people, but it is all about learning. And you can learn even from just Blockchain Village. They're doing a lot of talks and events and things like that in the days that they're running it that touch directly on our space. Watchword for this year's event is integrity. So take from that what you will. Jeff Bezos, is he still the organizer of Defcon? To my knowledge, not at all, never was, never has been. I believe whoever asked that question confused him with Jeff Moss, who is in fact the original founder of Defcon and Black Hat, and I think some other wonderful security-related efforts. Are there plans to integrate Reddcoin and Redd-ID with Steam Workshop, Mod, DDB, Nexus Mods, and other? Yes. I guess the short answer to that is yes, as much as possible. We really do want folks to be able to use Reddcoin just almost as a bolt-on to whatever social network or platform or gaming or application or whatever it might be. We've run into some awesome projects that are doing their own thing or maybe spinning up their own cryptocurrency in which Reddcoin might fit as well. Steam's a perfect example, and this is STAM, not STEEM, both of whom I very much respect. Steam being their own social network platform unto themselves, but Steam Workshop, to be quite honest, I have no idea whether it'll go anywhere, but I emailed Gabe myself probably about a week ago. It is a goal. It's difficult because there are some challenges to partnering with businesses like that. But again, if you can imagine how some of our tech applies to models like that, anybody who wanted to just take some Reddcoin and put it in a staking wallet could generate stake rewards to give out to their platform users. That's a business model that hasn't existed up until cryptocurrency. So it's a nice fit for folks who'd like to do that thing, or affinity programs, or anywhere where you're really trying to give out some value that's got some value and isn't just your name and brand and token. A lot of that can take years for the stuff to develop. I'd like to see Reddcoin used in as much of those platforms as possible. That's why we're doing what we're doing. It's not just social networking, clearly. It's gaming and anything that's got some micro value to it. And there are other folks that are coming at that same problem from a different approach. One that we spoke to just recently, I'm happy to give a tiny little shout out to because they just seem to be an interesting project. Idea Market, their site is ideamarket.io. You can feel free to check them out. They basically are approaching the idea of monetizing and increasing the value of people who have things to say out in the social networks and in the world versus the actual content they're creating. That's the type of project that we would get along very nicely with and coexist and maybe share some of that use case. And in other projects, we have different affinities and different kind of matchups, but that really has been a focus of a large part of our efforts right along, not just How do we integrate? Do we pay people, to be integrated in their platform? That's not usually our model, but in a sense where it benefits both of us, those are the deals that we really do want to arrange. So for anybody listening that's part of a project like that, if you want to reach out to Steam yourselves and make something happen, or any of the other sites, we are a community-driven coin. We are as strong as, what we can do collectively. Don't hesitate. Reach out. You have an idea, make it happen. When is the mobile app Redd-ID scheduled for? It's a good question. We do not, as a matter of course, try to put schedules on only because we get our feet held to the fire when we miss them, and that does happen. Our planned schedule at the moment is to have that Redd Mobile with the Redd-ID components of it in a usable and functional release by the end of the year. That requires solving some challenges, and it's going to require a lot of testing. And due to the new architecture that we're using, it really is important that we do that. We are incorporating components of Redd-ID into a sidechain that's going to be replicated by the core wallet. That's happening as part of our upgrade from core. Our current version is 0.10. We're currently working through to get it up to 0.21. That's an 11 version and about 5 years of work of the Bitcoin core team being all rolled in with all of the fixes and structural changes and new features and performance enhancements. But that also gives us additional capability to use that same wallet as the data store for Redd-ID. That's a tricky sort of thing to build and have it work reliably. So there's definitely more time involved in making that work as it should. At this point, really the only calendar we really feel comfortable putting on it is by the end of the year, which is about 6 months, almost exactly at this point. If things change or we're scheduled to get it out sooner, you certainly will be the first group to know, and then we'll be shouting it from the rooftops shortly thereafter. But it really is, the focus, apart from some of these side projects, it is the focus of our project to get that in place and functional as a decentralized tipping solution. It needs to be out there. Winboy has asked, will Reddcoin be listed in any exchanges soon? We don't pre-announce things. We have listed Reddcoin in Bitcoin.com, in Bitmart. We've had another tether pair activated on Bittrex. And the general response from our community really seems to have been a bit of, So for the moment, our focus really is on development. There's a strategic aspect of exchange listings. We are in pretty constant communications with people. We are talking to certain institutions. I'm not going to use names, but there are important connections that we're on a constant basis trying to arrange. We have exchange connectivity. We need better exchange connectivity, but we need our application focused on first and foremost. So funds that are in our dev wallet and being focused on pushing the project forward, it's not a critical requirement unless the community hugely disagrees, that we simply keep stacking up exchange listing after exchange listing after exchange listing, in part because, and everybody should be aware of this, each one of those engagements, and more so as we go down the road and regulatory concerns become more of an issue in the space, each one of those engagements with those exchanges may require not only a large price tag, but concerns of providing liquidity, or where does the Reddcoin come from that's on the books to be traded there. So it isn't just as easy as saying, hey, let's list here. Okay, we're listed. It's an involved process. Really, to speak differently to the question, will Reddcoin be listed in any exchanges? I think a bigger part of our focus is on, and we've got a number of talented folks helping us sort through the technical and logistic and legal aspects of this. Much more so, how can we plug into some of the DeFi infrastructure that makes sense? Liquidity providers, or some of the staking providers, not with an idea really towards affecting price, but towards broadening the idea, the availability and the, let's say, the infrastructure that supports the trading that you guys have asked about. So there are definitely a couple of key drivers behind that they haven't quite come to a point where we can announce them. But the goal really is to leverage a lot of those offerings in DeFi space that are inaccessible to us right now. That, along with whatever costs would be required in putting up swap sites or gateways, or, we may actually have to create a corporation to have custody of those actual, amounts of coins, if that's the direction that we're going. that we don't want the Reddcoin project to be responsible for. All of that has to be mapped out and adequately understood, but it is happening. And that's with an eye towards increasing tradability, increasing on and off ramps, being able to leverage in a fair way where we're not upsetting the tokenomics and really just, destroying what we've built with Reddcoin, but really enhancing that. That is our goal. So there's a sense of how do we broaden the ecosystem and allow better access and better trading and better, global visibility and liquidity. In answering the question that way, I think everybody will understand it's a bigger picture than just let's get on this exchange. That being said, certain exchanges like Coinbase, we're working towards as strongly as we can. Kraken, Gemini, we are making some progress. And, as things materialize, the community will be the first to know or the second to know. Is Redd-ID basically ready since it's being tested at the hackathon? I did answer that a little bit earlier. Not in a sense. It is a functional product that's sort of midway between where we released it in 2018 and where we've gotten to in solving some of the challenges to re-release it as a mobile product. It is going to be in the same format of a browser extension web app approach purely for the Defcon, kind of packaging that as a target. And it's going to be running on the Reddcoin testnet. So, but Redd-ID as a product or Redd Mobile with Redd-ID as a product, I would certainly say, as I said before, by the end of the year seems to be the appropriate time frame. We're solving heretofore unsolved problems in crypto and in blockchain, how to do these things in a decentralized way, how to make it so that nobody except you has access to your coins and your keys and your Redd-ID name and all of that. That's more important than rushing something out to market that sort of does the job. And if that was the case and we decided to compromise, we could turn something out very quickly that does not decentralize it, but lets you have that function. Honestly, that's not exciting. And that's why it's taken us as long and as hard a road as it's been, because it is that level of a challenge. Is the current version of the core wallet a part of Redd-ID or will it be replaced? I want to say you asked that question in reverse, and that came from our Dutch group. Redd-ID is using a sidechain data storage component of the core wallet, not the other way around, so that we don't have an issue where there's one server, a few servers sitting somewhere that contain all of that data, in the same way that the blockchain, the Reddcoin blockchain, contains an entire copy of the Reddcoin blockchain on every staking node on everybody's computer. This is the same method of breaking up that data and distributing it, making sure it's fault tolerant and replicated and available using core technology that as we improve the actual core, some of the components of the newer tech and the data replication and management and the database structures actually allow us to do that in a better way. And we're also building off of other components that other projects have built, as open source projects tend to do. But we're making, our own Redd branded libraries and components of that as we need to. So it's a bit of a combined effort, but it's a combination of core wallet technology and enhanced, I would say, core wallet technology based on the new work that we're putting into that, as well as the Redd-ID system itself, leveraging that ability to replicate data and copy it and make sure that it's safe and intact. It just seems a very natural fit to what we're doing. So, yeah. That's that. If it seems that security isn't good enough, will experts be hired to fix the problem as a team, as individuals on the team, and really, to everybody that we work with, being safe and secure in this space is, I can't think of anything that's more important. So certainly when we're responsible for doing that and rolling out software that people are relying on putting their money in, yeah, 100%. We are 100% focused on making things as safe as we can, not covering over problems as they're discovered. Some of that can be a little bit tricky, and we've had to scramble to fix issues in the past. Nothing recently, thankfully. That being said, the same people that are organizing Defcon and Blockchain Village are helping us coordinate actually full-blown security audits of the core software as we're building it, as well as, if depending on the time frame there, we may opt to do a current one of our current software. And that's one of the reasons also why we're pushing to adopt the latest possible Bitcoin core code, not just for features and performance, but for security, for things switching from elliptical curve code to what's been discovered to be a slightly more secure option of Schnorr signatures, which I just love the name. That's an evolution that the Bitcoin core has put into place, activated with 21 and with Taproot, and they're going to be relying on that. We get to adopt all of that security work and all of that protection and all of those upgrades simply by taking the code and adapting it for our own use. So that's in part what we're doing. And that will be followed by not just for Redd-ID and Redd Mobile, but across the board, our products are going to be security audited really as best as we can. Why isn't it possible to share Instagram profile links? And just diverting from the Defcon and Redd-ID stuff for a moment, even a product like RedShare, to leverage social networks, we have to play nice with those social network companies. Our restrictions on being able to publish on Facebook or Instagram, that's Facebook allowing or disallowing API connectivity. And that really speaks to what we're doing here as a whole. Maybe that's not right. Maybe we should be building systems that are using everything except Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. But I think that's a conversation for another day. How am I doing? Doing okay. Trying to get everything done while, racing towards the Defcon event. What's the possibility to integrate Reddcoin as a payment system at a restaurant or other company? To be quite honest, that can be done right now. There are a couple of companies that have built payment gateways that use Reddcoin. ForgingBlock.io is one of them. Nuve is another real-world payment system that we're actually still struggling to reach some corporate communication with. But they both have created essentially point-of-sale solutions where you can charge or invoice or use Reddcoin along with lots of other cryptos. We're not going to lead with that, but that's obviously a built-in sort of capability of what Reddcoin can do. And as we grow out the ecosystem and are able to add things like debit cards and those sorts of additions to what we're doing, all of that starts to make a lot more sense. Mr. Hoekstra, shine some light on the usage of Red Tipbot on Twitch and Reddit. Is there some growth? Not nearly as much as we'd like. We do have a statistics URL that actually shows exactly what's going on those various tip bots, and we're trying to unify that into a bit of an easily displayed web page. But that being said, we've got some usage. In part, it's still a little tricky because what we're building towards with Redd Mobile is a much more user-friendly way to use those same bots. That's the problem that needs to be solved. People aren't thrilled about arcane commands and type in this, and they really want a button and a click so that in a sense is why Redd Mobile is the thing that it's being built towards, to simplify that idea of tipping in each channel or to each channel, and more to the point, being able to tip cross channels too. So it doesn't matter if you're on Twitch or you're on Telegram, as long as we know you are N Hoekstra. Lots of my friends try to buy Reddcoin, but they have Bittrex and Bitmart. That's why Tech Adept, they want the easy way. I know. I know, and it needs to be easier. Even something like saying, use exchange.redcoin.com that we know is safe and, there's no funny business going on, is back-ended by InstaSwap, which is not as reliable an exchange as some of the larger ones. It's a challenge, and we've worked towards solving it in different ways. We were on track to have a deal in place with Liquid that would allow them to drop that same buy now button for almost any fiat currency on our website, only to find out we had to put an immense amount of legal work into just justifying that was okay. So some of that stuff is a little tricky in execution, and it's easy enough to drop a button that says buy now. It's not so easy to make sure that we're doing it legally and in a way that nobody's going to get into trouble either now or down the road. That's a big component of why this stuff is always harder than it seems. But that being said, that buy now button, that's key. That's what we need. Click here, buy some Reddcoin, send it to that address. If I could make it easy for everybody and reliable and decentralized and safe today, we'd do that. And Gladys, what is the expected value of Redd for 2022? I'm going to take a page from my buddies over at Doge and tell you one Reddcoin will absolutely be worth one Reddcoin. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't. I do have a little mining device here, though, that tells me everything. And can we be kept informed of the process, Jamal? Absolutely. Absolutely. None of what we do is secret, to be quite honest. But Slack is where we do most of our dev work collaboratively in all the various departments in our project. And that's everything from social media to marketing to PR to admin stuff to exchange stuff, business development, and then, actual technical development too. All of that stuff happens out in the open for the most part. So if you want to be part of it, you can join those groups. It's not really meant for watching, it's meant for participation. But the truth is, we don't have secrets as a project. What do I do for a living? You're looking at it. I've been essentially full-time on Reddcoin for the last couple of years. I mean, I was, prior to crypto, I was an IT consultant and owned a consultant company and did a lot of that sort of work. But I've been full-time Reddcoin along with John and a number of the rest of our team. Not everybody. A lot of people have day jobs and do what they have to do. And I because of the nature of our funding, I've done some consulting on the side just to make a couple of bucks. But full-time and then some for Reddcoin for me, and really most of the people on the team as much as they can. My ultimate goal. Are you asking for the project or me personally? Affecting people's lives in a positive way just because of what we've built here and the fact that our POSV can provide a little bit of money to sustain that no matter what. That's an ultimate goal. It's a two-sided coin. There's the technology side of it that we really want to be acceptable and accessible to everybody using, a computer or a mobile phone as a second nature, the same way you send an email, here, send a tip. Can't do it in Bitcoin because Lightning Network doesn't quite work, and the fees and this. That's a perfect solution, a perfect goal for what we're trying to do on the technical side. But driving that with our social movement, Project Redd, that really to me is the end result of all of that wonderful technology in directly being able to affect real life and real people and doing good. Do I plan on cutting my hair? No, not unless I'm given a good enough incentive for it. Couple of Bitcoin, maybe. I'll talk about it. All right, fantastic. So I will close this off for the moment and take care.